All right, welcome to the TFC Americas channel. Back with Brian Ditty, or another one of his videos, and this time we have the ultimate luxury. We have Brian Ditty watching along with us, and he's going to give us his insight and tell us exactly what he did and why he did it. So, Brian, welcome. First time on the channel. First time anybody's been on the channel but me. So you're breaking it in for us. Congrats, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun to be here. Watching these again and the replays and the excitement it's fun, man. It's cool. So
yeah. And so you're in America West, and this is ACAT. A1 in America West is all ACAT in America West, but a lot of strong riders in this group. You being one of them, obviously, but and I should mention, as Dave Toll says, a very cool guy. So it's your claim to fame right there.
I'm gonna start putting Dave's quotes on my wall.
It's inspirational for your writing, yeah. So this one looks like pretty traditional standard Zwift start, 400, 500 watts out the gate, and then settle into a nice rhythm as you hit this casual uphill into the S's. But tell us kind of what your goals are here for this race. What do you think you can be successful, and what are you looking for?
You know, we talked about the race plan, before the race, what we were going to do. And a lot of us were planning on, trying to get FAL and FTS points here on the first sprint point. And then also do the same over the Titans KOM, which is a shorter, KOM for us. So, which is where we've really excelled, kind of all season. So that was kind of the plan all along.
Yeah, so you've got you and Trevor on the team, who are both pretty big sprinters, probably two of the best in this league at least, if not two of the better ones in the world, I'd imagine. Two big watt guys, Ed and Eric Houston, and then Andrew and David. I guess David's a big watt guy too, but Andrew's more of the climber, so he's probably settling in and just kind of making his way to the end and punching it up that final climb. But right now we see a couple guys trying to escape off the front, a little bit of a gap forming. Obviously that first sprint comes up quick, so it looks like you're taking an interest in it.
Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have, requested some of our other guys, our big watt guys, to kind of help chase this little breakaway down. But it was one of those that everyone was right there, and it was such a short chase. So, but yeah, being so close to that sprint, right? I didn't want to lose the opportunity to pick up points there. So chased it down.
Yeah. I mean, that was 6 or 7 guys off the front. That's a lot of points going away from you. So it's totally understandable. But a little bit of a match burn. You can see some red on your graph there. But I mean, you're only probably 2-3 kilometers in at this point, so you're not going to be super gassed, and it's probably not taking too much out of you. But dropping a feather here to get over this little hump. It is about a 15-second climb, but again, early, so maybe not your best idea. Maybe it worked out, but
yeah. We're gonna see here in a second exactly how well it worked out, but
yeah, well, I mean,
a few minutes later, I should say.
This sprint is weird, right? I mean, there's always somebody trying to attack for FAL off the front. So you kind of have to pick, right? Do you go for FAL? Do you go for FTS? Because it's very hard to get both here. Yeah, it's going to end up being stretched out. You can maybe get like I mean, you did well here. You got 6th. Trevor got 1st in FTS. Looks like you both, or at least you ended up top 10. I didn't see where Trevor ended up, but you both picked up points, so not too bad. But
he did really well. He got the full FTS points. I like you said, I got 6th, and we both scored FAL points. So I mean, it wasn't
not bad. I mean, every single person in this race fresh right out of the gate. So your strengths are kind of longer sprints with a worn down field. And that's clearly not what we've got here. So,
right.
Anyway, fast forwarding, this part between the sprint and this next climb, nothing really happening. But here we go into the climb. So tell me kind of how these sorts of things have gone for you this season, and what you're expecting here.
My thought after watching some of the earlier coverage, on this particular climb was a lot of people did try and kind of get away in small groups here. And so I was keeping an eye on the front, watching for, particular names of guys who I know, are going to try and break away, or particularly stronger riders that, if a group of 6 or 7 got away, it could be a problem, for the finish. So, and it was pretty mildly paced until we got, till, about here. And then you start to see some of those red numbers and feathers getting dropped. And, a lot of those feathers are probably, the bigger guys who are, just trying to, not get dropped. Because, I mean, it's one of those that you're looking at it and you're seeing, 8 watts a kilo. And I mean, they're pulling away, but at this point, I'm not concerned. It's, stretched out.
You're set in 30th position, give or take.
Right.
That's comfortable on a climb like this.
Right. But still having to put down 500 watts.
Yeah, I mean, as comfortable as you can be doing 500 watts up a hill. But
right.
I guess what the problem really tends to be on this one is not so much people off the front. You just don't want to get gapped off the back. You don't want to be too comfortable in 60th position, because you can see some gaps forming right now.
Oh yeah.
Those people aren't going to be in this blob going down the hill, and they're going to have a very hard time coming back on the flat. So they're
right. Yeah, I mean, you've got to really get this main blob where I'm at, and then you can see it. I mean, it's just a couple of dots behind us, and then the much bigger blob is way a little bit back. So, yeah.
And they're gonna have to put in some serious effort to try and catch back up on the flat section between this and that next climb. So, it might be race over for those guys. So, you want to stay attentive in an area like this, but you obviously made it over comfortably. Looks like a few of your teammates did too, so you guys are in pretty good shape here. Kind of mission accomplished, would you say, for the first 2 VO2 max sections of the race in the first 8 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, we were real happy with where we were at this point in the race. I mean, you saw Ed pop in there, Andrew still in there. I mean, a lot of the guys still in the mix. And at this point, it was, we had, the effort wasn't terrible. I mean, we're putting in, 3 watts here, and I mean, nobody's really going. And then there's the move right there.
Yep. Can always see it. Brett Boniface rolling off the front as he is wont to do. He just loves him a long range attack, doesn't he?
That is a serious long range attack. I mean, that's 6 watts a kilo, and we are still quite a ways away from the Titans KOM.
Yeah, so. not even in Titans, and he's already going for it. I mean, good for him. He's clearly got some fitness, but I think my favorite is some of the commentary. It's a little sped up, but it's going on right now. Just the chatter. I saw Trev said, chill.
Right.
Because he knows too, Brett's off the front, but he's not staying away. I mean, you've got a minute and 15-second climb coming up where you guys are going to be all pushing just in a zillion watts.
Right.
And he's not going to have that in his legs after pushing this hard for this long. So.
No, yeah. And I mean, we knew that. No, I mean, obviously, if you're watching, none of us are chasing. I mean, we're not.
Right.
It's not an organized chase. We're pedaling casually. And I mean, little digs on the rollers. And
again, you say casually as I see 400 watts on the screen. But
well, that's what I said. It's over the rollers, and they're going to push it.
Yeah. Any uphills, 300, 400 watts. Any downhill is nice and easy. But I mean, kind of what you expect here. It's tough through these rollers, but everybody's attentive because they all know it's tough, so you don't see anybody dropping really. But we're starting to get close to the KOM here, so slow it back down and just kind of watch how you position yourself going into this.
Right.
But tell me kind of what you're thinking going into the KOM.
Well, after last week's debacle of that was what is it, temples and towers. I was really trying to strategically think through this race during my, I did a recon ride and really knew where the moves were going to be. So I wanted to be kind of towards the back of the front pack, lower wattages than everybody else, just trying to conserve energy because I know this KOM is going to be intense. It's going to be short. But I mean, those 1 minute efforts, that's right in my power curve. So I was actually looking forward to it. So. But yeah, I mean, which mission accomplished. You see me kind of back in 42nd, 45th.
Yeah. No, this is great. I mean, especially after the evisceration I gave you on this channel last week, you can see you're well towards the back. Now that Bill IV guy, the dirt guy, he ends up playing a part here, but
he does.
I will say that I'm proud of you. Looks like you learned a lesson.
I did.
And look, you went from back of the pack to you're already scooting up through the middle without really putting in much more effort than any of the guys around you. So I would like to pat myself on the back here and say it worked. But we'll see how this goes up towards the top. But anyway, give us a play by play here, and
Sure.
let me know what's going through your head as you're.
Yeah, and I mean, so here I was, kind of slicing through the pack and just making a little move, like you said, trying to stay at about the same wattage. It was right about here that I realized I went a little too soon, and you see Bill right on my wheel, and he starts to go. Quite a few red numbers back behind me, and everybody's right there. And so, but I was already at the front, so it's like, you got to go. And I mean, and this is where that feather that I talked about would have been really nice to have, because Bill obviously had the feather, gets away, and there's Brett getting ready to crest the KOM. We've got a couple of guys here.
So are you worried about Brett there? Is that part of the impetus for jumping off the front there? I mean, he still ended up fourth over the line, and obviously he's not really going to contend in FTS, but I mean, you ended up second there. So Bill got that one, started a little bit behind you, ended up a little bit in front of you, but I mean, you beat everybody else, and that's a 113, 9.5 watts a kilogram. So that is you're moving. That is no joke right there. So
no, I mean, and I was super happy. I mean, looking at the numbers and everything, if I'd have had the feather there, you could play it 1,000 different ways, but if I'd have had the feather there, could I take Bill? But at the end of the day, it's like happy to get FTS and FAL points.
Yeah, that's 15 for FTS, but 8 for FAL, so 23 points for a minute and 15 effort.
Right.
Take that all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to be easy over the next section. I mean, every single one of these races that we had seen during the day basically had a small group off the front, like you see here, that it just rides at 100 watts basically, and then they get caught by the chase group, and then everybody settles in for the next 10 minutes as we head towards the climb.
Right.
And that's what happened here, and obviously you guys are super casual at this point, and
I mean, anytime you see wattage drop below 200 and you're just kind of cruising, that's a good day. So.
Yeah, I mean, you already got the heart rate down to 140. I mean, not much to talk about here. Just I guess we can start to look forward a little bit. The main portion of this route still on the horizon. We've got the big one, the epic KOM reverse. What's your experience with that climb? Are you comfortable with it? Have you done it a lot? Have you raced it a lot? It's not one that I see a ton in races, but I don't know, maybe you're out there searching for it and I don't know about it.
No, I mean, when I do some training rides, it's actually, I usually do the epic the other way. Not a lot of the reverse. So, I mean, I don't know that I've really raced it a whole lot. I'm okay with it. It's not, it's a, 15 to, 15 minute-ish, effort. And, it was going to be one of those, it was just going to be painful, and so that's why you're seeing some of the really low watts. I mean, the majority of this right now is, really low wattage. And I mean, everyone knows it. I mean, if you're watching the chatter, we're talking about birthdays and chocolate cake and beer. And,
already looking forward to the end.
Right. Yeah. Talking
motivational.
Talking about Matt and Brett need to, you have anvils, permanent anvils, and stuff like that.
I mean, based on how Brett's looked so far, I would agree with that. Yeah, I'm not sure it would slow him down though.
No, not even a little bit. Might just make him a little more human.
It would probably motivate him even more and just make him angry.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, even these gravel sections here where you would usually want to be a little bit attentive, you guys didn't have anybody really go off. I mean, I'd seen a couple of times that people attack through here, but then they end up holding like 6 watts a kilogram for an extra 3 minutes.
Right.
And they end up just getting dragged right back as soon as you hit the first steep sections on this climb. But here we're coming up to it. This one, such a long climb, you don't really need to do the back to front thing. If you're within a 1/10 of a second or two of somebody at the end, then so be it. So you start up near the front. Talk us through it. We're gonna at least we're gonna stay on this one at normal pace here for a minute or two as we approach the bridge, because this is obviously an important section of this climb. Is this very first part?
Yeah, and I was watching this front group, and I didn't really want to chase anybody off the front, but I was looking for particular names. Brett Bonfils and Matt Usborne right there at the front. So it was like, I don't want those two guys to get away because I know they're capable. that's kind of their strategy. So
Yeah, Brett's already done 20 minutes at 6 watts a kilogram in this race.
Exactly.
Why not again?
Right. Yeah. Why not do it again? So yeah, I mean, I was watching that, and I didn't want to get dropped. I wanted to at least put myself into the conversation. Being that looking at some of these guys, I mean, these guys are all, 65 kilos or 62 kilos. So it's like
climbers. Yeah.
Climbers. They're legit climbers. So it's like, if one of them starts to go, I have to hold their wheel, and so that was, just watching and observing and, and then I realized there was a lot of guys in my back. So I just kind of, right here, just settled into a decent pace, knowing that we're going to catch back on and really hit the bottom part of the epic here. So
yeah. And I mean, it looks like, you accomplished goal number 1, which is basically just be at the front by the time you hit this bridge. Because this bridge, it's uphill, 3 or 4%, but
yep.
Especially at the pace that you guys take it, it's draftable. You'll see your watts definitely go down for this section. It's one of the very few points that you can actually get recovery on this entire climb. And the gap's already going out. I mean, you guys have a group of 10 here, or 8 or 10 or something in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
You got 4 seconds to the group behind, and it's going to be very hard for those guys to make up that gap already, even though we've still got 10 more minutes of climbing left to go. There goes Brett again off the front.
Always Brett.
But again, like we said, he already did a 6 watt per kilogram effort for 10 minutes or something.
Right.
But anyway, here's where you dropped your feather. So walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, having done that section down below, and trying to just kind of make a couple of moves just to stay on, I was a little bit fatigued here, and I was starting to feel it in my legs. And so last week, I had a steamroller that I sat on for way too long because my idea was I was going to use it at the finish, and I was going to, at the top of the KOM, I was going to pass people. And so it didn't work out that way. So when I got to this point and I started to get fatigued and maybe a little mentally tired, I was like, all right, drop the feather, because if not, you're gonna fall apart. So, it was one of those, drop it now, you'll have the legs, and just keep going, because these guys are, you see them dropping feathers and they start to pull away. That's when you have to be a little concerned. So. Yeah.
I mean, the idea is really just stay on these wheels. I mean, you're not moving super fast, but any draft is better than no draft. And
right.
Obviously, you brought back Boniface here.
Yep.
Again, he made a valiant effort, but he wasn't breaking away from everybody. Thankfully, he's not that early.
No.
And here comes the first little kind of downhill to flattish section.
Relief.
And, it looks like goal number 2.
Yep.
Stay in the front group for this part as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, we had whittled it down, to where we had this small group, and I didn't want to get, because the thing is, you don't want to end up in no man's land. So if and I, again, I'm watching Zwift Power Live the whole race, so I'm pulling up, all right, these guys, I know these guys are 65 kilos, most of these guys are all lightweights except for Matt Usborne. And so, I wanted to be in that group, but I didn't. If I did get dropped, it was going to be just awful because I'd be stuck in the middle of nowhere, by myself. So, because at this point, I mean, we've got a decent lead of 10, 12 seconds on the group behind. So,
right. Yeah, it looks like this group is going to be the group that dukes it out for the win here. There were 8 of you. It looks like Nystrom's fallen back to the previous group.
Yeah,
good effort for him, but not enough today.
Yeah,
and there you see Usborne waving bye-bye.
Yeah, he's making his move, and I mean, he's so strong, and I mean, and that was the thing. It's like, he and I are a similar build. I think we almost have the same height and same weight, so it's one of those. If he's capable of doing that, like, I should be able to stay with this group. Yes, I'm gonna have to push higher wattage than these guys. I mean, there are Tudors in there and Boniface and these guys. I mean, they're all, much lighter guys than myself. But, if I can sustain a hard effort, then maybe that higher power that I can produce will pay off. So.
Yeah. And so far, so good. I mean, again, we've got, I guess, goal number 3 here coming up, the next section that you really want to get over. And I would say that this is probably the most important point of the race for you, just because of how it played out. So I guess walk us through it here as we approach it, and then kind of tell us how you played this.
Yeah, and again, it was one of those. I was in the group, I was in the mix, and doing this downhill right here. You can see I put in a little dig right here to kind of roll over the top. And my thought in my head was, okay, I'm heavier than these guys. I'm going to pick up more speed. And so that might just be enough to kind of launch an attack off the front. I mean, we're not that far from the finish. And if I can get it to stick, great. So, and it really worked out. I mean, like get here, this guy's away a little bit, but then you'll see it right here. I just, kind of hammer on the pedals. I'm pushing, 560-ish watts, more than the guys behind me, just enough to get a gap. And so, it was one of those that if I could put 2 or 3 seconds into him on this little part, it might just be enough. So,
yeah. And 20 seconds later, you got 2-3 seconds on these guys.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you were paying attention or if any of the viewers here are paying attention, but on that downhill, the 2 guys who you had gone over the top with, neither of them actually went to 0 watts, so they never super tucked there.
Yeah.
And then you ended up on the wheel of Hill and just kind of able to go by him without doing anything.
Yeah.
So you just kind of launched yourself through that. It was honestly, it was kind of beautiful to watch a perfect piece of Zwiftcraft there. And the gap goes out here. You're up to 5-6 seconds. So I won't say that you're feeling comfortable, obviously, since you're still putting up well over 400 watts and into 500 sometimes. But kind of got Osborne in your sights.
Sure.
It's got to be a temptation seeing him up there. But what are your thoughts here? Is there any chance?
It crossed my mind for a second. Do I put in a 10 watt a kilo dig or just try or give it a shot? And he's been so solid in the 6.5, 7. I mean, even 7.5 range. I was like, I don't think I could do it. Like I risk blowing up, getting over the top, to chase him down for, to take his spot, to take the win. Right. So it was risk versus reward, and I decided to play it safe.
Yeah, and I mean, second place in this group, not too shabby, and you got to roll in and post up and show off the jersey and the sponsors and all that. So that was a hell of a climb. I mean, second to Osborne and ahead of a slew of extremely strong, extremely talented climbers. Definitely nothing to be ashamed of there. That was one heck of an effort.
Overall, I was thrilled with it, and obviously here's the power graph of what I had to do at the end there.
There's an awful lot of red, man. And that is a really high, sustained high heart rate. But
and I was watching that too, and I mean, but it's like you get in that zone, you get in that red zone, where it's like you just got to keep going. So
yeah, well, hey, I mean, for you it was only 14 minutes of red. For me, that was almost 19. So
I mean, yeah, it's no joke either way. I mean, that climb is not easy. So
yeah, so second overall, primes in both of the previous 2 climbs as well. Even knocked a little bit off of your race ranking with that one. So
I did, yeah.
Got that 0.21 point. But yeah, and the team ended up third because again, Andrew had a really solid finish there as well.
He did, yeah, he really.
And the rest of the guys came in. Trevor got all those bonus points on the first sprint. The rest of the guys came in pretty solidly. So,
yeah, Ed was right in the middle of the pack, and we still had David Holland in there, and we had everybody in the mix. It was good.
Yeah, and this is a newly formed team that we sort of cobbled together. Like 3 days before the deadline. So
I was one of those. Yeah, I think he's gonna ride. I think he's gonna ride A or whatever. I thought I was just gonna have to train by myself for 8 weeks. So
you guys are solidly positioned middle of the pack here in the division. You're 6th overall. Pretty close to the Azeta team of Osborne and Boniface, the superstars. So for first foray into ACAT and again, a sort of last minute cobbled together team. Really, really impressive stuff here for the season. So,
it's been enjoyable.
How are you feeling for the remaining 2 weeks? We've got a TTT coming up, and then Champs-Élysées backwards.
I do love the Shams course, of course, because it's sprinters heaven.
Downhill sprints too.
Yeah, downhill sprints even better. But with that, you're gonna have to watch for moves, and people just try to do crazy stuff. As for the TTT, I mean, our team is not. Our strength is not the TTT. much similar to yours.
When you've got Osborne who can do 500 watts for 14 minutes. So.
Right.
Although you're not too far off apparently. So.
Well, but yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, a lot of these guys, and you and I've had this conversation about, it's a 12-man roster, right? So, I mean, you could theoretically stack your team. So you had sprinters, all rounders, and kind of a, specialist kind of squad. And I feel like the best teams in our division have that. Like in the TTT, the top teams are going to be big watt guys, a full squad of big watt guys. So, our team is very well rounded. We've got climbers, we've got all arounder, we've got sprints, we've got a lot of the bases covered. So TTT, however, which requires the consistent big watts. I mean, we have some guys that can do it. Houston's, big watt guy. Holland's a big watt guy. Ed's a big watt guy. We have the kind of the tools. It's, it's just, some people just, some of those other teams are so strong. So
they've got big watt guys who are also doing it at 60 kilograms. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, anyway, I mean, obviously, good luck. I'm pulling for you. We'll come back and revisit this. I don't know if we'll do it for the TTT next week, but definitely we'll look at the Champs-Élysées course. And thanks for coming on. This was fun to talk about and review.
Yeah, no, it was a blast.
Yeah, I'm glad you did it. Yeah, all right, that's it. Like, subscribe, share, do all those stuff, and we'll keep Ditty coming back as he continues his quest to be the greatest Zwifter on earth.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, we'll see you guys later.